feel the power of the God.
Hey guys, I hope you're hungry. Welcome back to Full Incense. My name is Jericho, and this is Raw is War Stories, I should say. So, basically, if this is your first time being back to War Stories since I did kind of the rebranding, Raw is War Stories is just what we're calling all of the wrestling ones. So for today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the Battleground pay-per-view from this past Sunday. And just as better housekeeping, there might be some background noise in this episode, but it was kind of unavoidable. I needed to record today to get this episode to you guys as soon as possible. So lesser of two evils was to just have it. So if it happens, I'm sorry. If not, good. I brought it up for no reason. Secondly, I'm playing the new skirmish mode, which is basically where you can play the different, you can play Walker Assault and Fighter Squadron offline now, and it feels a lot like classic Battlefront, the Walker Assault does, and I've been really enjoying it. And to me, it's kind of the best of both worlds for War Stories, because I don't run the risk of, you know, falling off the servers and having slowed in and that sort of thing, and it's a lot more exciting than just doing the missions or survival again and again and again. So I'm not going to do it every time, but I do see myself playing doing skirmish fairly regularly, especially when I'm the only contributor. If I'm on online anyway, because I'm talking Iceman, then of course, you know, I may as well do the real modes. But yeah, for the solo stuff, I think this is pretty cool. Solo stuff. So, Battleground. All in all, I thought it was a really, really solid show. It easily cleared the low hurdle of being the best Battleground pay-per-view ever by a long shot, even though I felt that some of, you know, what it could have done, it came up a little bit short in a few ways that we'll get into throughout the night. It also left me with a lot of big questions about where, you know, the company is going to be moving forward, especially following the recent draft last Tuesday. So to start off, the pre-show, I actually missed the pre-show. I was having dinner with my in-laws and didn't get to sit down and watch in time. It was Breezango versus the Usos, and I don't think these teams had ever met. I don't know why they needed to fight on pay-per-view or on pre-per-view. And Breezango won, which I thought was I was very, very shocked to see that, because I thought the Usos, you know, still had way more stock with WWE. But I guess they wanted to give Breezango, you know, a big win, a nice push, and that's good because I think Breezango has a lot to offer. I think the Usos have been around, and they'll still. I think you could put them back into a title contention at the drop of a hat, and it'd be fine. So I definitely don't think there's anything lost having Breezango win, but it was still very surprising to me. But the one, you know, big problem I have with it, which is going to be sort of a recurring theme throughout this episode, is, okay, so Breezango wins. That's great. They got a win over a former tag team champions, a very successful tag team. That's awesome. They look great. But what are SmackDown tag teams supposed to do? What is there's no, are they gonna make a second set of tag titles? Okay, if so, great, that's fine. But if not, they're just gonna fight each other for no reason. That's my biggest problem with the draft right now, is disenfranchised tag teams and women's wrestlers on SmackDown that don't have a championship to go for. I think it's totally silly and makes no sense. So we'll see what they end up doing. You know, maybe, you know, like I said, maybe they'll end up being that they'll add more titles, but I don't think they'll do both. I don't think we'll have 2 sets of women's titles, 2 sets of tag titles, Intercontinental US, and 2 world titles. I think if anything, they'll add a second world title, and I would be surprised if they didn't do that. You know, as we saw at Battleground, you know, Dean Ambrose did win in the main event, bringing the WWE title to SmackDown. They're not going to not have a championship on Raw. But maybe they will. I didn't know that the Power Shot had such a spread. I've never seen it. That's twice in a row that I got 2 kills with it. And I am doing this on normal. I'll do it on hard in future, so it's a little bit more of a challenge, but I'm just kind of screwing around right now. TBH. So, okay, anyway, before I continue to ramble, let me get into the show proper. So the first match on the actual show, on the actual card, was Sasha Banks and a mystery partner versus Charlotte and Dana Brooke. And that mystery partner ended up being Bayley, which I'm pretty sure everybody would agree was what we all wanted. And I don't know if anybody that would be upset to see Bayley. JBL commented throughout the match that this was a one-time thing, and she said it in a post-match interview, did Bayley, that she was not going to be back. So I don't really know. I think it's possible that she'll do double duty like Owens did for a while. But I don't really know what their plan is for Bayley long term. I was surprised that this isn't, you know, her joining the main roster. I think it'd be kind of cool if, since she wasn't drafted, that NXT and that Raw and SmackDown, and NXT, I should like kind of fight over her. Well, I think that would be kind of interesting, and have her stay on stay on NXT for now because she is, you know, fighting Asuka for the women's title at the next takeover. I think it's Brooklyn again in before SummerSlam. So she definitely has unfinished business on the gold brand. So that'll be cool to see. But I am surprised that she's not, you know, definitively coming to Raw or SmackDown, and I hope it's Raw because, like I was just saying, SmackDown has a lack of things to do for the women unless they get their own championship. I don't even know if I want that. I wish what they should have done is had all women on Raw with the women's championship and all tag teams on SmackDown with the tag titles, or something like that. I mean, I know that would be kind of weird, I guess, but I don't know, some sort of answer. But so as for the match itself, Dana Brooke looked really outclassed. I am not a big fan of Dana Brooke. I think it was a mistake to call her up. She seems very unpolished and not ready, both in her presentation, her promo work, even her look. She just doesn't, she's not a finished product, like when, especially compared, I mean, the three of the best women in pro wrestling, but especially in this match, seeing her up against Sasha and Bayley and compared with her partner Charlotte, she just looked totally outclassed. And if you know what she brings to the table is, you know, she's strong and tough and all that, that's great. But if they're going to call up Nia Jax because she got drafted, I think also to SmackDown because Fate is cruel, why not just have Nia Jax be Charlotte's partner? I think it would make it more obvious that she was only there for her strength and that Charlotte, you know, could possibly be a friend of hers because of Nia Jax's looks, which would, you know, add fuel to the fire for an eventual split up. A lot more than, I don't think anybody wants to see face Dana Brooke versus Charlotte, but Nia Jax getting fed up with her I think could be way more effective. So that's a missed opportunity for Nia Jax, who I'm also not the biggest fan of, but if they insisted on Charlotte needing, you know, a bodyguard or whatever, which is fine, a classic heel move, I don't have any problems with that, but I think Jax would have been the better choice, especially since they were already planning on bringing Jax up as she was drafted just a few weeks later. One thing that Dana did that I thought was cool, just one little spot, she did like a handstand choke of Bayley, or I think it was Bayley, it might have been Sasha, where she did a handstand with Sasha in the corner and kind of brought her boot way up to choke her with it. I thought it looked cool. I never seen anything like that. So you know, credit where it's due. I thought that was a pretty cool display. But all in all, you know, outclassed. I was happy to see Sasha win because, and she tapped out Charlotte. I think seeing Charlotte and Sasha one-on-one at SummerSlam for the title now is inevitable, and I really do hope that it's finally Sasha's coronation. I know Iceman would agree with me that it would be a huge mistake, that now is the time to pull the trigger on Sasha. So that's basically all I had for that match. Like I said, I thought it was really well done. And besides, you know, my problems with Dana, I thought it was a very effective match. I had no problems with it at all. So moving on, we had another match that really exceeded my expectations in the New Day versus the Wyatt Family. I think Xavier Woods is totally selling this feud, or sold this feud, because I would think it is probably over now. The Wyatts won definitively, and they're broken up by the draft, which is another draft mistake, but you know, it is what it is. But you know, him being afraid of Bray and then like managing to fight it off, and like him being hypnotized, like it seems like almost that he's on the brink of doing Bray's bidding at times, and I don't know, it's just very, very effective. And it's nice to see Woods get to you know, flex his chops in ways other than comedy, and to show, you know, he's a sympathetic character, he's a well-developed character, he has a lot to offer to the company besides just comedy. That didn't work. I'm gonna die. Oh no, I guess it did. So it's nice to see that, and I like to see him in a more physical role. I like, because so often, especially when the New Day was first starting, it was always Kofi and E as the team when it would be 2-on-2, and that's fine. But Xavier Woods is really, really good. I would say he's every bit as good as Kofi. And Big E, Big E brings something different. I don't blame them for having Big E often being the guy in the ring. But I'm glad to see, Xavier in a role of more prominence physically in this feud. And like I said, he really sold it, but it was a great match otherwise. Everybody worked hard. Everybody did a good job. Eric Rowan has improved by leaps and bounds. I think he's really, really good now. I kind of wish that he was the one, if they were insisting on splitting up the Wyatts and not having them be, what they, a strong unit anymore, which I totally disagree with anyway. I kind of wish that Rowan was on his own, because Strowman definitely needs the more work of the two of them. And Rowan's gotten really good. I think he could be very believable and strong on his own as a monster. But we'll see how how Braun Strowman does on his own. I think he has a lot of upside is the catch phrase, or the buzzword I should say. So we'll see how he does on his own. But
well done.
Yeah, everybody looks good. It was a great match. I was pleasantly surprised to see the Wyatts win. I think that it was a good choice for the Wyatts, swan song as a group, for the New Day to finally show some weakness. I'm ready for the New Day to win the tag titles, or to lose them, I should say, because they're good, but I definitely think we're getting diminishing returns. One thing that was so effective about the Shield was when they broke them up, it was a shocker. And I'm not saying the New Day should break up, but they need to lose. They need to not win every single match again and again, week in and week out. And I liked them being pretty soundly defeated by the Wyatts. I mean, they did have Rowan set up for the Midnight Hour, their tag finisher, but that's about the closest they got, and they didn't even hit the move. So it's a pretty rousing defeat. One of the most rousing for the New Day as a group. So I think that was all effective, but it was just nice to see them. You can't win every single match. Even as heels, they would win all the time. So I think that's a positive. I'm interested to see what their new feud will be. I would imagine it'll be with the Club, unless they continue the Club versus the realest guys in the room, and and leave the tag titles out of it for now. So yeah, so far no complaints at all. We move on to Zack Ryder versus Rusev for the United States Championship. I know I'm being kind of long-winded. Some of these matches I won't have nearly as much to say. I thought Ryder looked amazing. I really liked the physicality he was allowed to show. He was able to get in all of his signature offense. Yeah, I mean, he hit the Rough Rider, and I really believed he could win. My favorite part of the match was when he looked like he was about to break the Accolade, and then Rusev pulled it into that variation he does on his back where he kind of bridges his opponent, and it looked like solid gold. Ryder, everybody has hoped this a million times in the past, but maybe Ryder will finally be able to, maybe they're finally going to do something with Ryder now. It could happen. And I would love it if it does, because I've been a huge fan of Ryder since day one. I think he, they said it on the show that he has all the tools. There's no reason why he couldn't be, a really successful long-term mid-card champion. And I can't say I'm surprised that he didn't pull out the win against Rusev. But I was a little bit disappointed. I think it could have been really cool, and I think the fans would have loved it, because Rusev is such an effective heel. I'm glad that he's no longer tethered to the League of Nations. Even though that group had so much potential, it didn't do him any favors, because he's so dominant. He's such an incredible heel in today's WWE that he doesn't need anybody else. Except for Lana, because Lana definitely adds to his presentation, but he doesn't need Del Rio or Sheamus pulling him down, because that's what it was. As good as those two are, Rusev is just fine on his own, and I'm excited to see who they do have beat him for the U.S. title. I just hope it's not Cena again. I guess it won't be, though, because Rusev's on Raw and Cena's on SmackDown, so that's something. Moving right along, we had Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, and I wrote in my little notes, I keep notes when I'm watching pay-per-views now, so that I can kind of, keep all the matches in order, make sure everything, I just like to do it, whatever. I don't have to justify myself to the likes of you, but I wrote that I had seen enough of Owens versus Zayn for now, and I hope that they stuck, even though they're both on Raw, I hope that they stuck to their guns, that it would be the last time we would see the two of them for a while. And I had to eat my words, because the match was so good, I do want to see it again. Even though it's been done so many times, overdone in NXT, and now WWE, and of course Ring of Honor and all before that. I want more of it because they're just that good. There were a lot of incredible moves. There was one nasty looking botch where Zayn landed right on his injured shoulder trying to do his seated springboard moonsault to the outside. So that was kind of scary. And then there was a really, probably the most, was an apron brainbuster from Zayn to Owens that looked just nasty and really, really, I don't know. You can tell that these guys have a lot of trust and faith in each other, that they're not going to kill each other because they let each other do some crazy, crazy stuff. I really like the finish with Zayn hitting the 2 exploder suplexes, the one into the turnbuckle and then the haluva kick and catching him, not letting him fall, throwing him into the buckle again for the second haluva kick for the win. Zayn really needed the big win because Owens, I don't think he's pinned Owens in WWE yet, except for maybe in tag action. So it's nice to see him just win. Like, Sami Zayn won this match definitively and looked really strong doing it, but both men look amazing. Owens is just the master of maximizing minutes, and I think they got a standing ovation for moves in a wrestling match, and I hope the WWE saw that and noticed that and takes notice of it because both of these men need to be world champion sooner than later. Sorry about that, excuse me. So moving right along, yeah, no complaints there. Even though Owens, you know, is my favorite, I'm wearing a Kevin Owens shirt as I'm recording this. He didn't need the win. He's beaten Zayn plenty of times. It was time for Zayn to win one, and I'm happy about it. And I'm very eager to see where they go with both of these guys for their new careers on Raw. So next we had Natalya versus Becky Lynch, which I thought was the second weakest match on the show. I think they did them no favors by having them follow Zayn and Owens. And so the match was sent to die, and they're sent to die because what are they supposed to fight for as women on SmackDown? I just do not agree with that at all. I think it makes no good sense. They did a fine job. Natalya, I don't know why Natalya got the win. I would think to give Becky Lynch the rub, but maybe not. I don't know. I really disagree with a lot of what we saw with this match. That was definitely one of the weakest on the show. And they followed it up with an even weaker match. This was the second hour was tough to get through. We had Darren Young versus The Miz, and the beginning of the match was fine. I'm just going to do the same match again so I don't have to go through all the setup. The in-ring work was fine, but then the finish was so bizarre. Like, Miz got in Bob Backlund's face, and then Maurice slapped Backlund but made it look like Backlund had attacked her, so Miz got mad and pushed him, and then Darren Young freaks out and puts him in the chicken wing on the outside, and the ref immediately calls for the bell. Like, why? That's not a disqualification. It's not a count. Like, why would he do that? And then apparently it was a no contest. And then like Darren Young pushes the referee because he's like that upset about Backlund getting hurt. Like, why is he so obsessed with Bob Backlund? Just because he's his coach? And just really, really weird. Finish didn't make any sense. The whole feud, like Darren Young winning the #1 contendership in the first place, basically as a fluke, I thought was weird and does him no favors for this to be his re-debut. I don't know, just weak all around. I don't know what they were going for with that at all, but I thought it didn't do anybody any favors. It was the opposite of Zayn and Owens, or even Ryder and Rusev, to me. But one thing, another thing that I thought was sort of a weakness was I felt pretty sure that that Miz was going to retain, because then both of the singles titles would go to Raw, because Darren Young is on Raw and Rusev, the U.S. champion, is on Raw. So I don't know. You just saw it coming. I don't know. It was just kind of a mess. So then we had our main events, the first being Enzo, Cass, and Cena against the Club. I thought the most effective part of the entire match was the beginning, where Cena just seemed to be handing the torch of the Dr. Thugonomics to Enzo, just letting Enzo talk. And Enzo is so good. I love that they always give him mic time. It reminds me of the nascent days of the New Day, where they were just, come hell or high water, they were going to say what they wanted to say. And Enzo is so freaking good. I mean, you've heard it everywhere, you don't need to hear it from me, but Enzo Amore is the truth. He's something special. And I'm excited to see where he goes from here. I worry about him because of his size. They don't seem to trust him very much in a physical role. And that was shown throughout. Like, they kept doing the spot where, like, they would catch him and throw him at each other. Like, he did a crossbody and hit Cena, and Cena just, like, threw him awkwardly at Gallows. How come I can't... Why didn't it let me be the hero? That was weird. It just was awkward. That was the one part of the match that I thought was kind of weak. And then Cena, of course, pins AJ Styles so that they can one-on-one one more time. I mean, I say one more time. This feud will last for years, probably, as long as WWE wants it to, because it's really effective. But yeah, no surprises there. I do wish that they would have taken the opportunity to protect the club as a group, and just have them pin Enzo or Cass, even though, you know, they're really new. They need the love. But I mean, it was fine. I always disagree with that. I don't like it when a team of faces that have never fought together before are able to team up and beat the heels that fight week in and week out together. Like when the Shield was at their height as bad guys, and they would team up against Cena and his random buddies for the day. I was always so scared that the Shield would lose to just these jokes, just random people, and they never really did that. But that's sort of what I have here. The club, you know, they make such a point that they've been fighting together all over the world, and yet the first time that Cena, Enzo, and Cass have all teamed together, they lose to those three. So, I mean, it was okay. Really, no surprise. Just like with a lot of Cena stuff, a lot of WWE stuff. I can't be too mad because you see it coming. I mean, everybody knew that Cena was going to get his win back sooner than later, and at least he didn't tap AJ out. Moving right along, we had the highlight reel with Jericho and Randy Orton. I thought this was okay. I don't like it when faces go into Cena mode and just all they can do is crack jokes, especially when they just take the easy, stupid jokes that everybody does. I thought it was okay. I liked when Cena made the crack about Lesnar's suspension, so the no enhancement needed, even though Orton having 2 strikes is hardly, you know, the straight edge guy that can really talk in that situation, but, you know, it is what it is. I also liked him saying, you know, I didn't want my re-debut to be, like, imagine if I came back after 9 months and fought Fandango, taunting Jericho for the WrestleMania match against Fandango, although... Poor Fandango, it's no fault of his, and Jericho didn't want that match either, so really no fault of either of them, but, you know, it is what it is. This guy's on a thing. Sorry, I gotta concentrate for a second, I don't want to die. Let me clear these guys out. But anyway, I thought it was fine. Very, like, it was... I thought the crack about Lesnar was cool, but other than that, it was basically, like, it was what you would expect. It was nothing special from either guy. So then we had the main event, and I might be in the minority with this, but I was a little bit disappointed for a match that has been so hyped and so looked forward to. I mean, now that the dream of Sting and Undertaker is that was one of my most wanted matches ever, like most wanted possible, with the current superstars and the current, you know, what they can currently do with WWE. And I thought the match was good, not great, and I think they're capable of better, and I'd like to see it happen again. I was shocked in a good way for Ambrose to pin Reigns. I think that is all the proof we need that Reigns is not the top guy anymore. He has blown it, you know, like it was one thing not getting over as a face, but that's it. We're not going to see Reigns in a top position. He's going to move on to a mid-card feud, I think, and you can't help but say that he deserved it. You know, he got the suspension. I think there's no reason why he wouldn't have fought off Rollins and then been successful at the triple threat if they had even gone that route with it at all. So, I mean, this is Dean Ambrose's time. It's really great to see Ambrose walk in and out of the Shield triple threat as the winner. I think if this match had happened 6 months ago, there's no way that would have been the outcome. So, yeah, kudos all around. It was a good match, but like I said, just maybe not what it could be. And I'm excited for Shield Triple Threat 2, which I think could be a lot better in the coming months. I hope they do wait for it. That and Zayn and Owens, even though I know how great it'll be. Give me some time. Wait until it's the main event of a WrestleMania before you do it again. Especially now that they're all on different brands. I would assume we'll see Rollins and Reigns continue. Maybe that'll be the feud for a Raw championship that they might add because of Ambrose having the title on SmackDown. But we'll see. There's a lot of different ways they can go with it with the draft. So that was the show. Match of the night, easily Zayn and Owens. Well, I say easily, but a close second was Wyatt versus New Day. I thought that was really good too. Much better than the other 6-man, and then the triple threat was really good, just not as good as it could have been. The only disappointments were Natalia's match and Darren Young's match. Both I thought were weak. But all in all, a good pay-per-view. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like. So I do wrestling content fairly often, usually just a monthly pay-per-view, but I'll do a special one every now and then. I wanted to do a special for the draft, but just with the way my schedule worked out, it just wasn't going to make sense. Time-wise, I didn't want to do it like if I did it now. You know, it's obviously after, you know, a good bit after everybody else has already posted theirs, and it's been, you know, obviously, yeah, I don't want to be in an ATST. It's been said, you know, anything I would have said. But, so I do have the wrestling content. It's always going to be Raw is War Stories. It has its own playlist, so you can make sure you're catching that. But I have War Stories every Tuesday and Thursday, talk about all sorts of stuff, movie reviews, that sort of thing, wrestling content. And so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. We have something every single day. So if, you know, this War Stories format isn't for you, we got Let's Plays, all that good stuff. So thank you to wow. Thanks again one more time for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you disagree with anything I had to say or anything I could do to improve the series. And that'll about do it for me today. I don't know about you guys, but I'm full.